Hello everyone and welcome back to LearnWire. In this video, we're going to be talking about Bramework updates. The Write More button has been improved, so they've removed the restriction on that, and we're just going to be doing an overall Bramework update video and tutorial. So we'll be creating a blog post from scratch and seeing, after the tool has been released for a couple months now, seeing how well it's performing now. I got this email this morning from Handy, the Bramework founder and CEO, and he just said, "Hey David, I wanted to share what's new in the latest version of Bramework 2.0.7. Number one, we removed all restrictions on the Write More button. No more minimum words required to write." So initially, I'm extremely excited about that. That was my biggest complaint about the tool, is that you just couldn't really use the Write More button, that big giant green button. You'd have to write content yourself, and then when you push the Write More button, it really doesn't produce that much content. So it'll be interesting to see what they've done with that, and if it's an overall improvement. And number two, we've updated all our AI writing tools with new algorithms and models, so they write better content and significantly reduce the chances of generating duplicate text. So obviously those are really good things that you would want in your AI writing tool. So let's go and get a keyword real quick. And I'm in RankIQ. This is one of my top favorite keyword research tools. It goes out there, uses a unique algorithm, and pulls data and does all kinds of research for you, and just tells you, yes, this keyword is good to go, and you have a good chance to rank if you achieve an A grade with this content and you have 2,452 words in your content. And it's analyzed 30 sources. It does it at the click of a button, and then it gives you all the topics that we should be writing about, right? And then it gives you even more keyword Google likes in the title, so it gives you title suggestions as well. Really, really good stuff right here. And then the competition analysis, it's going to pull in the top ranked blogs right there. And then we can go into the content optimizer, put our content in here, and then start optimizing our content. I love this tool. It is really, really great. I'll leave a link below if you want to check it out. It's $49 per month. Okay, so we'll come through here, and what I want to do with this one is the title analysis, because I want to go ahead and get 30 ways to get paid to write poetry. Well-kept wallet. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take this one, 30 ways to get paid to write poetry in 2022. I'm going to go copy with that. We're going to go into Bramework right here, like so. And then what we're going to do, I was in here fooling around with this already. You can see I wrote a piece of content right here. Pretty good stuff. Let's go back over and just click on Bramework, go into the writing assistant. Now remember, with Bramework, it's you can do a keyword research in here as well, right? So if I go keyword research right here, and what I want to do, let's see, I'm going to go back to RankIQ and grab our keyword, just the keyword itself. And for fun, I want to show you guys the Bramework keyword tool. So we're in the keyword research tool. We'll go new search. We'll throw that keyword that we're going to go in. And I wouldn't imagine it has a lot of search volume. So it has 170 search volume. That's low, but the competition is very low. So that is exactly what we are looking for, right? We're looking for volume. And for me, anything over 50 to 100 search volume, if you rank for that, you're going to rank for multiple keywords, and it's going to bring in far more than what this number is indicating, right? But anything over 100, I consider a good keyword, and the competition is low. So this keyword checks out. I could probably go and put this in Ubersuggest and many other tools, and this keyword would check out and be a good keyword, because that's what RankIQ does. It actually does analyze the top sites. It analyzes all the domain authorities, citation, trust flow, citation flow, all that stuff. And then it tells you if you have a good chance of ranking or not. So the keyword checks out in Bramework as well. So that's really good. This also pulls in some data, the top 10 ranking posts, but I'm going to go ahead and just click new post. Boom. We got the green light on this one. We can add some of this stuff in here. Let's just go right there. We'll just add some of this in. Post a poem, money poems, post poetry online. Okay. And then we'll say create. So then this is Bramework, right? So we're in here, we're inside of the document editor right here. And the first thing that you want to do right here is you just want to say generate, because we're on title, right? So you have these different segments over here. You start off on titles and you just push generate. It's going to go out there and generate a title for us. How to make money from poetry, 8 ways to make money with poetry. So actually that looks really good right there. I'm going to go start. And I love this part about Bramework. I do believe that the handy, he has his own blogs. I've actually vetted one of his blogs, and it does actually rank for like almost every article he has on his site. It actually ranks. So this guy does know what he's talking about when it comes to SEO and writing blog posts for the search engines. One way I know that is that we are going after this keyword, how to make money from poetry, and he actually has that at the very start, and his tool generally has that at the very beginning of most of the title suggestions. And then he uses, usually he uses, like, I'll replace this with the colon right here, because this is actually better in SEO to use a colon. Google just sees that as a better use. Instead of using hyphens, which gets removed sometimes, and other things get removed. So the colon really does work better. And then 8 ways to make, so these numbered posts, also putting those at the beginning, but work well, right? So if you have the chance, 8 ways to make money with poetry, that would also be a great title to put at the beginning. But we're not trying to rank for ways to make money with poetry. We're trying to rank for how to make money from poetry, like a question. And if we kind of put 8 ways how to make money from poetry, that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, right? So that's why this is set up like this, and I just think it works really, really well. So what we're going to do is I'm going to actually, for fun, I'm just going to put 31 right here. Now, I'm not expecting the outline to actually come up with 31 ways. We will go and get some more ways here in a minute. I have my other techniques I'll use, but we are going to put 31 in here. We are going to use the outline generator a few times to see if we can get some good stuff in here. So the next step that you take after you get your title in here, you just go to outlines, right? Then we're going to push generate, and we'll look at what it produces right over here. And I'm just going to say generate more, and I'm going to say generate more. So we're going to do it 3 times, and we can come in here and look. Introduction, poetry is a beautiful way to communicate with the world. It can be used to express thoughts and feelings, or simply explore the world around us. There are many ways to make money. Here are 8 of the best ways. So it did kind of revert back to the 8 instead of the 31. That's fine. And so what we'll do is we will add these over here. So it's really easy. Cursor over here, push the plus button, plus. Now we're going to go through here and start sorting this out real quick. And I'll just show you kind of my process where we'll just come through here and sort this out. Now I will say that this is really good content, and we have to push the return button. Now, one thing I did notice before they came up with this, this new update, right? They already did this for you. They usually did this for you where this was already separated out. So I don't know why it's doing this, bunching everything up. Just takes a few more seconds to go through and actually, and then I'm also noticing sometimes where you have to actually come through here and push the backspace button a couple times. There's like an automatic indent. So here we go. So those are just a couple of things I'm noticing, but it's not something that's like a make or break with the software or anything like that. All right, so we're going to come through here, and I'm going to speed through this, and I'll be back in a sec. Okay, so we have all these right here, and what we will try to do is try not to have this duplicated, right? So write a book of poetry, create an audio recording, video recording, publish your poetry in a magazine, sell, give your poetry away, use your poetry, commercial movie, get paid, okay. And then what we'll do is we'll just remove this part. Sell your poetry books. So sell your poetry online, have poetry readings. That's new. This one's close to some of the ones above, but we'll go ahead and leave it. Have poetry readings, magazine articles about poetry. So right here, publish your poetry in a book. Write magazine articles about poetry. So they are not the exact same thing. They're close, but we'll leave it. Teach poetry workshops. Write grants and proposals for funding. Write grants and proposals for funding. That one is a no-go. Publish a poetry collection or anthology. Perform your poetry live on stage. Is that one? Perform. Not seeing where that one was either. Get paid to read and recite your poetry. That's close, but still different. Market your poetry skills online. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the conclusion. Write grants. Okay, so that's a no. Write essays. Market your poetry skills online. Something like that. Write children's books using your poetry skill. Write poetry for magazines and newspapers. So I'm just going to actually just say for newspapers. Write poetry for newspapers. Okay, write speeches or presentations using your poetry skills to make money. I'm going to just be very specific about that. And you'll see why I do that on some of these. Write movie scripts using your poetry skills. Create an online course teaching poetry using your poetry skills to make money. Okay, so then now what we'll do is we'll come through here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we'll just come through here and we need to fix these, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back. We have 22, so that's really good. I wanted 31, but we could get more by just clicking the generate button right here. So we have 22. I'm going to go ahead, and you do want to, I will give you a tip. You want to, the most important part about using Bramework is spending the most amount of time doing the actual creation of the outline. If you get your outline set up correctly in Bramework, Bramework will do an amazing job with the rest, which I'm going to show you in a minute. But let me go out. I'm going to find some more. I'm going to click the generate button. I'm going to get enough because I want 31 ways, because I want to beat that one post that has 30. So I'll be back in just a sec. Okay, so we're back, and that took 5 to 10 minutes. Now, if you don't have 5 to 10 minutes to spend on getting this outline created really nicely like this and organized, then you're not really going to rank your article, right? You really do need to put the most amount of time, especially if you're going to use AI. You want to get it set up in the beginning very, very clean and organized and well thought out before we begin the writing process. Let me go touch this up real quick. We've got 31 ways right here. And we will get rid of this thing. You don't need to actually have introduction in there, right? Now, I would like to expand on this a little bit, but it's okay. We're going to go ahead and just leave this right here, but I am going to put, you could put an H2 right here and answer a question and then have all these as H3s, or you could have all these as H2s. Right now, we're going to go ahead and just leave them as H2s. I'm going to leave that question off right there. Now, you guys leave a comment below if you are an SEO expert, and in this particular post with a giant amount of 31 ways or tips type post, should each tip be an H3 or an H2? Now, I know you can set it up either way, and you will. That's not really a major ranking factor. I do believe that it would get ranked whether you choose H3 or H2s. One way is that right here you would put you would just go up here and put like a nice big headline, and this would be your H2, and then all these would be H3s. But in this case, I'm going to leave it, and all these are going to be H2s, right? So what you can do is come through, and I'm actually going to just write all these, and we'll go, well, no, we're going to test this out. So we're going to grab all these and come up to the top, and we're going to make them H2s in the beginning, okay? And then now what you're going to do is I'm going to grab this one right here. I'm going to push paragraph, boom, and we're right on pace. And then we're just going to grab this one, and we're going to say paragraph. I'll come back and clean the rest in a minute. But now you can see my point with why we would want to spend all of our time with the outline, because now Bramework's going to go out there and it's going to create a video recording of your poetry. Poetry readings can be a great way to showcase your work with potential audiences. You can also create a video recording of your reading and sell it as an online project. So it's right on point. It's doing a great, great job. So we're just going to go like that and push paragraph. So now you can see why this was so important for us to set this up and spend more time on the outline portion of this. Because once you get to this point, you are going to just zip through here, and the AI is only as good as the input, right? The output is only going to be as good as the input. Your input is all of these nice headings organized well. And this is my favorite part about Bramework, because once you get this set up right here, this is super, super easy, very fast to create content like this. Very, very well. Have poetry readings. I'm going to go ahead and just delete that part right there. And we're just going to keep going through And notice that I'm not highlighting the number, because sometimes AI, and any AI, but I noticed that it even happens with Bramework, is that if you put that 14, if I highlight this entire number right here, it might try to go off and list number 15 and 16 and so forth. And we don't really want it to do that. We don't want it to be list style. We just want it to write a nice full paragraph for each one of these. And this is going to create a beautiful listicle style post, which do really well today in 2022. So I will finish this part up and I'll be right back. Okay, so that took about 5 minutes. I'm back. Now you can see what we'll do is we'll come through, and all these blank spaces, we'll just kind of go up and edit these out real fast. Doesn't take long. So we'll just come scroll through here, clean this up. And I mean, look at this. Within 15 minutes, we really have this giant 2,400 word blog post. It is just insane. And this is my favorite part. So Bramework really shines if you have these full giant kind of tips based numbered type blog posts. It does really well with when you're doing just a simple blog post and have less than 10 items, then it's not going to produce as much content as you would probably like. You're going to want to manually write some, but when you're doing things like this, 31 ways to do anything, right? And you have your outline ready to go. We used everything came from in here this time. I didn't go and use any other tool today inside of this Bramework tutorial. Everything was produced from the outline generator that Bramework offers, and you just push the generate more button, right? And we got all of our tips inside of here, and it's just beautifully, it's laid out really, really nicely. And we have a 2,425 word article. Now the conclusion area, conclusion is the only part that I haven't figured out how to create really good conclusions in here. But what we're going to do here is we're going to say, following these tips, these 31 best ways to make money from poetry, you will be on your way. And then now we're going to just push the green button here to a successful writing career. Whether you want to sell your poetry online, teach it in schools, or offer readings for a fee, these tips will help you get started. So that's good enough for a conclusion. We'll come up here, we'll make that an H2. So we're at the 2,472 mark. And if we come back over to RankIQ, how many words did we need? 2,452, right? So 2,472. So we have the amount of words that we need. Now, another really great thing. So we could test this part out. So for example, if I put my cursor right here under publish your poetry, we're going to push this green button, but just be aware that it's most likely going to just start posting the next tip next to it. So it's not I'm finding that the green button from testing earlier is even though that they've lifted the restrictions, meaning that right here we can just push the green button anywhere we want, which I like that, and they're on the right track. But let's just push the green button and see what happens. It immediately went to number 5, right? And that's not what we want. We didn't want it to go into number 5 here. We want it to, and maybe I can ask Handy if there's a way that we can put something down here like you can in other tools. And maybe if I push return and do that right here, I don't know if that will work. I'm just doing a test. No, it didn't work. So, it needs to be able to be controlled inside of a certain area, right? So right here, for example, the only maybe chance we can do is publish your poetry in a book or magazine. Maybe we would just go to the very bottom and start writing and then push the button. But really in this kind of post, which I think shines in Bramework, the green button, unlimited, kind of use this right away, write more button, improved. I'm not seeing a whole lot of improvement. Other than I will say that you used to, before they came up with this update, you had to, you could only highlight a certain amount and push the paragraph button, or you had to write, you had to manually type something in order for this to turn green. Well, now the difference is that it's automatically green all the time. So that's great. Good job, Bramework. But I do think that it still needs a little bit more of a fix, right? We need to be able to control this from going off on a tangent with continuing to listing now I understand the way AI works. It's going off of a pattern. So naturally it wants to write more of the pattern, but we want to be able to expand on this paragraph right here. So let's just, for fun, highlight this entire thing right here and see if it can write a paragraph based on that. That's probably highlighting too much text. Another thing is that it doesn't really tell you what your limit is on highlighting in order to do that. So that's like really the only kind of complaint. I don't see it as a massive improvement. I think Bramework already was really good at what it does. But when you need to expand a little bit more on these, that's the only problem that you're going to have is the expanding on these tips, right? And pushing the green button and having it not go into the next tip is really what I'm trying to say. So we have this, but the other really cool thing I love about this is write a book of poetry, right? So we could come in here and just go into the image section, and we can say a book. And you can just say, I like that one, done. And then now you have this in here, right? And you could also come up here and say how to make money from poetry. You want to put this in a few times. You just double click right there and you go and do your SEO for your image update, and that's ready to go. So you can go in there, and I recommend for this article, you'd probably publish a few images. I'll just go do that real quick and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've added some images. It just helps split up the text, so it makes it easier for people to come to your post and actually read it. So then what I would do is I would take this button over here, highlight everything. We're going to copy this, and we're going to go over to RankIQ, and this is where we would use the content optimizer, and we would go and throw in our content. And we're already starting off with a D grade, which is awesome. We went up an entire grade just by creating our content in Bramework. And then now what we would do is we would just come over here and click this button, show unused. And if you have a membership to RankIQ, then this is how you would go about it. So we need to add in all these content. And I would just start with one and go in and add them throughout the article where it makes sense. And then now you're really optimizing for what Google is saying that they want in this article. And then that's how you would go ahead and use Bramework. And you'd use Bramework in conjunction with RankIQ, but the tutorial really, you can rank Bramework without using RankIQ. And I have some articles that are ranking as well, just from creating them in Bramework. So that is my full tutorial on Bramework. They have done some updates. They are continuing to move forward with their technology and their AI. I really think that this one shines for long blog posts that are like tips, listicles. Let's just say that this really shines with listicle type posts, and so forth. So that's it for today's video. If you want to pick this up, it's still available on AppSumo. It is starting at $79, and it's got 5 tacos, so it's really doing a great job. People love this software, so go pick it up with the link below. I'll see you in the next video.